Next on the news, he wants to make America safer. President Biden's new plan to reduce gun violence. New York City Mayor Eric Adams signing bills that give more support to pregnant women. Also, the Vatican, for the first time, calls Russia the aggressor in the war against Ukraine. And
you have a sense of how deep this woman's faith was when you watch her on film.
She led a life that inspired so many Catholics. We'll hear from a priest who played a role in a new documentary on Mother Teresa.
You got what?
My first year.
Plus, she earned her first paycheck, and she's proud of it. The viral video of a woman who overcame so much just to be happy at her work. I'm Christine Persichetti. Current News starts right now. President Biden is calling it a battle for the soul of the nation. Tonight, he's revealing details about his Safer America plan, all to cut down on gun violence and reduce crime. And the proposal includes a ban on assault weapons.
The answer isn't to defund the police, it's to fund the police.
The White House is pushing President Joe Biden's Safer America plan.
More cops for effective, accountable community policing.
Specifically, the plan, which the president is touting in Pennsylvania Tuesday, calls for funding the police, including hiring some 100,000 more cops and promoting effective prosecution of crimes, investing in crime prevention and a fairer criminal justice system by putting $20 billion towards services like mental health, substance abuse disorder, and homelessness to prevent crime and reduce the burden on police, and keeping dangerous guns out of dangerous hands by calling on Congress to require background checks for all gun sales and ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. All this follows a string of crimes across the nation this week. In Arizona, a gunman wearing tactical gear and armed with a semi-automatic rifle killed 2 people and injured 2 police officers and 3 bystanders on Sunday, then apparently took his own life.
This is a massive crime scene.
In Central Oregon on Sunday, a grocery store employee was being credited with saving lives. He died trying to disarm a shooter who also killed a customer.
Mr. Surratt acted heroically during this terrible incident.
In the nation's capital, a rookie running back for the Washington Commanders is recovering after being shot Sunday in what may have been an attempted robbery or carjacking.
He's doing well, and it'll be a matter of time before he's back out here.
And in New York, police say they're charging a 14-year-old with a hate crime after he was caught on camera spraying 2 Jewish men with fire extinguishers.
No one deserves to be the victim of such senseless, hateful violence. No one.
The NYPD's Hate Crimes Division says hate crime arrests are up more than 100% compared to last year, with arrests for attacks on Jewish New Yorkers up 45%. On Tuesday, Mayor Eric Adams announced a new plan to address gun violence in the city. Together with the controller, Adams called on the 3 major credit card companies to establish a merchant category code for gun and ammunition stores.
We do it for if someone purchased fertilizer, there are notifications that are made. And we have this code when you purchase other items. Why can't we have this code when you purchase guns?
According to the mayor's team, the creation of a new code would help financial institutions detect and report suspicious activity, such as unusually large purchases of firearms or ammunition that may be used for criminal purposes. The mayor's announcement comes after he touted a successful campaign against homelessness in the subway. According to the city, more than 2,000 individuals have checked into the shelter system under Adams' subway safety plan. The initiative was introduced back in February and aimed to flood select stations with homeless outreach and mental health workers. Adams also acknowledged that homelessness underground tends to ease up during the summer, and he said his team is preparing for the winter. Despite this, the city continues to struggle with violence underground. The NYPD just released photos of this man who they say shoved a 68-year-old woman down a staircase at the Kew Gardens Union Turnpike station last Monday. According to police, the victim was leaving the station just after 9:30 a.m. when a man came up from behind and pushed her in an unprovoked attack. Thankfully, the victim was not seriously injured, but the suspect did take off and has not been found. Pregnant women in the city will soon have more support. Mayor Adams announced Monday that he will sign a slew of bills aimed at lowering maternal mortality rates among Black women. Altogether, the 7 measures aim to improve birth outcomes and would require the city to provide doula services free of charge to marginalized neighborhoods. Disparities in maternal health care has been a priority of the Adams administration. According to the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Black New Yorkers are 8 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white New Yorkers. Buses of migrants arriving from the southern border aren't slowing down anytime soon, and city officials are scrambling to find them adequate housing. According to Mayor Adams, at least 7,600 migrants have gone through the city's shelter system since May. And with more expected to come, the Department of Homeless Services made deals with 15 hotels to provide shelter for the migrants and other homeless individuals. The city also planned to open a 5,000-room hotel just for migrants by August 15th, but the process has been slow. Still no arrests yet in a burglary at a Queens parish. Officials say these 3 men broke into the rectory at St. Anastasia Church in Douglaston last Friday by prying open the rear door. They then removed a safe along with credit cards and about $125 before taking off in a light-colored SUV. The church's pastor, Father David Detmer, had this to say to the men.
Find another line of work. Sooner or later, I believe that, the police, law enforcement are going to catch up, with them. Is it worth, for instance, I'm sure that they would be disappointed because it really wasn't that much. So I guess, the question is the risk worth it? Is what you're doing worth it?
The NYPD is urging anyone with information about the burglary to call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS. To the war in Ukraine now. Russia stepping up its shelling attacks on Kharkiv. At least 4 people were killed and 9 others were wounded in the shelling in the central part of the city on Tuesday. Ukrainian military officials say emergency response teams were on the scene to help with the injured. A team of international nuclear inspectors was in Ukraine on Tuesday, touring the Zaporizhzhia power plant. Right now, the facility is controlled by Russian troops, but it's operated by Ukrainian engineers. The team is trying to assess the safety of the plant after it was repeatedly hit by artillery shells. New satellite images show several holes in the top of the plant. Pope Francis is drawing some criticism for something he said about the war in Ukraine. During last Wednesday's general audience, the Holy Father spoke about the death of a daughter of a Putin collaborator who critics say was a major proponent of the war. But the Vatican countered, saying that the pontiff defends every life instead of taking sides. Kelsey Gussie has the full story.
Pope Francis's condemnation of the murder of Daria Dugina, daughter of a Putin collaborator, has sparked criticism, especially in Ukraine. The country's ambassador to the Holy See called the Pope's words disappointing. The Vatican responded with a statement recalling the Pope's numerous condemnations of the invasion.
È passato più di un mese dall'inizio dell'invasione dell'Ucraina, dall'inizio di questa guerra crudele e insensata, che come ogni guerra rappresenta una sconfitta per tutti noi.
The communiqué stresses that the Pope only intends to raise his voice in defense of human life and that he has no political positions. The Vatican also pointed out that when Russia started the war, Pope Francis described it as morally unjust, unacceptable, barbaric, senseless, repugnant, and sacrilegious. At one of his general audiences, the Pope kissed a Ukrainian flag.
Questa bandiera viene dalla guerra. Proprio da quella città martoriata, Bucha. E anche ci sono qui alcuni bambini ucraini.
There are many other examples, such as Pope Francis's meeting with the wives of soldiers of the Azov Battalion, or his meetings with the Ukrainian ambassador to the Holy See. Although, as the Holy See reminds us, the Pope does not seek to support any side, but rather peace.
That was Kelsey Gussie reporting. Ukraine's ambassador to the Holy See, Andriy Yurosh, said he was happy the Vatican's statement reacted on Ukraine's position and affirmed Russia's aggression. While he had no update on a possible papal visit to Kyiv, he hoped the statement would elicit a, quote, positive and quick response from those who could approve the trip. There's a lot more news headed your way. A new school year is about to begin, but some seminarians in the Diocese of Brooklyn did something special with their beloved bishop to close out summer. And New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan updates us on the Curia reform meeting and how it could change the Vatican. And her birthday just passed, but a new documentary will give us another chance to celebrate the life of Mother Teresa. From kindergarten to college, students across the Diocese of Brooklyn are preparing for the start of a new school year. Ahead of their first day of classes, Brooklyn seminarians got to spend some quality time with their bishop. 24 new and returning seminarians from Cathedral Seminary House of Formation in Douglaston went to a Mets game with Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan. The men started returning Saturday evening to begin their orientation and enjoyed Sunday morning mass and brunch with the bishop before heading off to the game. As if that wasn't enough, the bishop also spoke to 66 future priests at St. Joseph's Seminary in Dunwoody. The annual retreat included seminarians from Brooklyn, the Archdiocese of New York, and the Diocese of Rockville Center. The 17 Brooklyn seminarians even got to spend some quality time with their bishop, asking him questions and getting advice as they continue their formation. They aren't the only ones preparing for the new school year. St. John's University welcomed its students back for the fall semester over the weekend. More than 2,600 of them arrived on campus, unpacking their cars and filling up dorms as they embark on a new chapter in their lives. Included in the incoming class is the inaugural class of nursing students who have a lot to look forward to as a new health sciences center on campus is currently under construction. President Biden just made the announcement last week, but there's already a warning about scammers possibly using recent news about student loan forgiveness as bait. Cole Higgins has some tips on how you can protect yourself.
Unsolicited calls, texts, emails, and fraudulent websites. It's how scammers will likely use the latest news about student loan forgiveness to bait new victims.
Scammers will promise fast forgiveness, whether it is additional benefits, faster benefits, erasing your student debt. All of those are empty promises that will lead to an empty pocketbook.
The Better Business Bureau is bracing for a spike in calls and reports after the Federal Trade Commission issued a consumer alert about potential scams involving student loans. Last Wednesday, President Joe Biden announced a plan to address student loan debt, including debt forgiveness for certain borrowers. The BBB says scammers may use the news to attempt to defraud borrowers looking for eligibility information.
It's important to know that the government is not allowed to call you about your student loan unless you've given permission.
The Better Business Bureau has these tips to protect yourself. First, understand that these government programs are free to sign up for, and that anyone offering you help for a fee is a red flag. Number 2, know the ins and outs of your student loan. Know the terms and don't fall for it if a scammer promises you benefits the government or your loan provider hasn't already offered you. Number 3, do your research. Look up the lender or company reaching out to you to find out if there's a scam artist on the other end of the line. Number 4, look twice before you click. The BBB says some imposters often create lookalike government websites, so pay attention to the URL. And finally, protect your private data. Don't give out your social security number, federal student aid ID, or any other personal information. I'm Cole Higgins.
Turning now to the College of Cardinals, the prelates celebrating Mass with Pope Francis Tuesday evening. The Mass at St. Peter's Basilica marks the culmination of several Vatican events, including Saturday's consistory and the two-day meeting of the world's cardinals. Day 2 of those meetings took place on Tuesday. This is the first time the entire College of Cardinals gathered at the Vatican with Pope Francis in almost 10 years. The cardinals reflected on a new constitution of the Roman Curia, one that is reportedly more missionary, synodal, economically transparent, and less bureaucratic, so that communication with dioceses around the world can be more open. Among those taking part in the discussions was New York's Cardinal Timothy Dolan. Following the first day of meetings, His Eminence reflected on the talks, calling it a beautiful experience.
We talk as friends, as brothers, with immense charity and deep love for the church about very practical issues, and it has been extraordinarily uplifting. I'm glad it took place.
Cardinal Dolan, who is the chair of the Catholic Near East Welfare Association, also said the meetings were an opportunity to learn from the cardinals on the front lines in places such as the Middle East and Eastern Europe. Also tonight, storms of biblical proportions. A country underwater, and they need the world's help.
Some of the areas hit are also some of the most vulnerable areas of the country.
Right now on Currents News, the deadly Pakistan flooding. Pope Francis is praying for the people of Pakistan. More than 1,000 have been killed, including hundreds of children. And as Anna Corin reports, the country has seen its 8th round of monsoon rains.
A young life hanging in the balance, winched across rushing water in Pakistan's flood-soaked Sindh province. Safely off the bed frame, it's an older man's turn. Lucky for some, but these floods have killed over 1,000 people since mid-June, including over 350 children, according to UNICEF.
This is a calamity of proportions I think Pakistan has not seen. Some of the areas hit are also some of the most vulnerable areas of the country.
Pakistan normally goes through 3 to 4 monsoon rain cycles each year. It has had 8 in that time. And the wet season will drag on through September. Extreme heat has baked the earth. The rain can't soak in. Flash flooding comes next. These satellite images show the Indus River swelling. Nowhere for the water to go and few routes to escape it. Highways through central Pakistan have been cut off, bridges broken as villages wash away. In the northwest of the country, army choppers rescue desperate people. Another person saved. Others scramble for the next helicopter.
This is a climate crisis, climate that has been mostly done by richer countries contributing to the crisis. And I think it's time that the world responded to support Pakistan in this time of need.
As Pakistan and NGOs appeal for international aid, the weather forecast is finally brightening. All are hopeful for a break in the rain, a chance to further assess the damage. What is immediately obvious, the toll that climate change is taking.
That was Anna Corin reporting. The damage to the country is estimated at more than $10 billion. Caritas Pakistan is on the front lines of the flooding disaster. The Catholic Aid Agency is joining forces with its member Caritas organizations so it can share resources aimed at helping the thousands that are impacted. If you would like to make a donation to help the people of Pakistan, you can log on to Caritas's website. That's caritas.org. Still to come on Currents News, she devoted her life to God and helping others. Next, we'll speak with the priest who played a role in the new documentary on Mother Teresa. And she's a worker at an ice cream shop who captured millions of hearts over social media just by getting her paycheck. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back.
She was strong. She was firm. She was tough cookie. She was tough in Jesus. She wanted to love until it hurts.
She hated publicity. She suffered the celebrity. But she accepted it if it was going to help the poor.
It's the story of Mother Teresa's life in documentary form, and it's about to hit the big screen. September 5th is her feast day, and it's been 25 years since her death. So to help mark this, the Knights of Columbus produced the documentary with commentary from prominent Catholics. And one of them is from the Archdiocese of New York. Father Donald Haggerty from St. Patrick's Cathedral joins us now. Hi, Father.
Hello, Christine. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So, Father, first tell us, how did you get involved in this documentary?
Well, I have a long relationship with the Missionaries of Charity going back 39 years. I worked for a year as a volunteer with them in the Bronx, living in their men's shelter, and I joined their missionary charity Fathers Order when Mother Teresa came for a visit, and I joined at that time. And then as a priest, I've had years of close contact with them, also giving retreats in many countries with them. And I lived recently 4 years in Ethiopia with them. So I've had a lot of years with them, and they, I think they suggested my name as one person who could help as a person to be interviewed.
That's wonderful. And you know, Mother Teresa has been a powerful witness for charity. Talk about how she's been a guidepost for your own mission of charity.
Well, Mother Teresa is the epitome of someone giving her life for the poor. And if you saw her, as I saw her many times up close with poor people, she loved the simple people, and her legacy is not so much in the past. She is teaching us again, you know, through this documentary, be good to the poor people. You have a sense of how deep this woman's faith was when you watch her on film. This very great depth of conviction about the reality of God. And I think you can't be not touched spiritually by watching her.
Absolutely. And Mother Teresa was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979 for her service to the poor. How do her sisters continue that mission today?
Well, they're in over 130 countries, over 700 houses in the world. They fill the countries of the poor, of the third world. They give themselves so selflessly, namelessly to the poor people. And when I lived in Ethiopia, their compound in Addis Ababa had over 800 patients, and with 12 sisters taking care of them, many workers also. But they're just so good in giving themselves without a thought of self, you know, counting for nothing in the world, and yet pouring themselves out, and sometimes living in very dangerous circumstances. They've had 11 sisters killed violently over the years, 7 of them in Yemen, and 4 of them in Sierra Leone back in the past. So they're just very heroic, self-giving people. I think they draw volunteers often who stay with them then for many years, as was the case with myself also. Right. Once you're with them, you don't want to leave.
We could truly learn a lot from them and from Mother Teresa still, as you said. Father Donald Haggerty, priest in residence at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Christine. God bless you.
Mother Teresa, No Greater Love will be in select theaters October 3rd and 4th for a 2-day-only exclusive event. For tickets, visit fathomevents.com. And finally tonight, she works for an ice cream shop that's made it part of its mission to hire people with disabilities. And after her hard work, she definitely had a sweet reason to celebrate.
My first year. No way. What do you think about that? Perfect.
This video of a North Carolina woman getting her first paycheck has captured so many hearts on social media, racking up more than 4 million views. 28-year-old Dale Beck has Down syndrome, but she never let it stand in her way. And her boss says he was glad to be there to see the sweet moment.
You could see how proud Dale was of this accomplishment, and you could see how proud her mother was of her daughter.
Dale says with the money, she wants to pay for her family's birthday and Christmas presents. Great idea. Good for her. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.